All right. Welcome to episode 220 of the Linux Lugcast. We're an open podcast / lug that meets at 9 p.m. Eastern every first and third Friday of the month using Mumble. Time is a little bit, whenever people kind of show up. If you have any questions, comments, topics like to discuss, and are unable to join us live during the show, you can send us an email at linuxlugcast.com. You can also join us live. The whole purpose of this podcast is for people to come on and talk about Linux, and we're about an hour and a half into we're 10:30 Eastern time right now, and we spent most of it talking about movies and stuff. So there's a little bit of that too. For those of you listening, you'll catch that at the end. We do have an email that works. I've tested it, so it still works. I'm pretty sure.
Please, somebody send us emails.
If you want to send us an email, even if you don't like you want to say, hey, stop talking about movies, you morons, and go back to just talking about Linux all the time.
Shave that thing off his face.
Yeah, if you're watching the video, which we have a YouTube channel where you can watch us and see all of this wonderful goodness. You can see this beautiful face, that one, and that one. At least from my point of view. I'm not sure when Danny does the recording, I'm not sure which direction any of this is actually going to show up, but
you are in the middle, top middle.
Oh, top middle?
On my screen,
I'm the top left of mine.
Joe's in the bottom left, Mordancy's on the bottom right, and I'm in the top left.
So when you put, I haven't checked it recently, when you do the put it into YouTube, do you put any of the show notes stuff into the YouTube in the comments?
All the show notes go into the description.
So those people who are watching us on YouTube can go and check out the notes on there, and they can see where to find out the rest of the stuff, which is like the email, where the link to the website they can check out us on Mumble. By the way, Mumble is available on everything. Everything. It is in the iTunes store. It is in the Google Play store. It is available on every platform. It is super lightweight. It works on everything real easily. The whole reason why we use it is because its compression is super low. So it works well on just about anything. And just all you have to do is go to linuxlugcast.com, check out the server details, connect it, create yourself a name, come on here, and you can come here and talk to us. Or not. That's fine, too. Don't force people to talk to us. Cherry Hill Tony has been a reoccurring character on our show, and he hasn't said one word yet. Though he has talked to us in the Mumble chat.
He's still our buddy.
Yeah, Danny just randomly showed up one day.
We love you, Cherry Hill.
We do.
So check us out. Check out the server details. Join us live during the show. Send us an email. Check us out on Reddit. A lot of the stuff that we post to Reddit is stuff that we wind up discussing on the show. Once the show really starts getting, we start getting into the whole topics part of things and news around.
Once we're about halfway done talking smack.
Yeah, well, we talk about a movie first, and then we talk smack, and then there's a little bit of what we've been up to, tech wise, and then we'll go into some links, and we pull the links from where we Reddit, where we wind up posting them, and that for the people watching is Joe's chin underneath his beard.
I'm just seeing how gray things have gotten.
That's where all the bugs are.
See, that's what you need to do. Just pull it over your head, the entire. See, that way we can't see the rest of your face.
Pull my lip over my face and swallow.
There you go. I'm your host for this evening, Honky Magoo. With us tonight is Joe.
I'm here.
Lovecraft.
Good evening, everyone.
Minnix.
Hello.
The man who does the video recording. Mordancy.
Hello.
And Minor. Oh, he's definitely mutant right now, so
he has no clue
he's there,
what's going on.
Hello, folks.
So what happened to Lugbot? You just give up? You're like, screw this. It's too much work.
I still have him ready to go. I've been putting off a lot of things to get through this whole heart issue deal, but I've been writing down all my ideas and everything. So trust me, now that I've kind of got everything sorted out, Lugbot will return. Some new music will come into play. I've got lots of goodies planned for us in the future, so don't worry about it. It will return. I've just been busy with life. I don't have my priorities straight. Should be show first and then life.
That's right.
You should worry about your heart after the show.
Right, exactly. If I live or die, who cares? It's all about the Lugcast.
If you die, that's a topic for one show.
Mm-hmm.
So, as we usually do at the beginning of the podcast, we like to talk about the movie that we all collectively watched. This last time we watched the... God, it's way up there. I have to look at it.
1983.
1983.
Brainstorm.
Cinematic masterpiece, Brainstorm.
Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
Christopher Walken.
I'll just give a brief synopsis. I really don't want to spoil anything right off the bat. We'll probably talk about that later. And that way, if people want to watch it without being spoiled, they can fast forward through that part. But so this takes place in 83, or this movie was made in 81, actually. And it stars Natalie Wood, Christopher Walken, and Louise Fletcher, who, if you remember from our last movie, we watched Virtuosity, was in that as well as...
She was a police chief.
Yeah, she was the, what do you call, like a...
Commissioner?
Commissioner, yeah. She's police commissioner in that one. So it kind of has a tie back to Commissioner Dean in Virtuosity. But she's mostly known for Nurse Ratched in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And I think she won an Academy Award for that or something. But anyway, so it's got a great cast. And the premise is they're being, it's a kind of a high-tech lab that's being funded by this financier, played by Cliff Robinson. And they kind of have free reign to work on whatever they want. And what they're currently working, their project is a interface that you wear on your head, and it connects with your brain. Not really no physical connection, but some kind of electrical connection they don't really explain. And it starts out, you can see what other people are seeing and experiencing as long as they're wearing the same kind of headset. And not only that, but you can record those experiences as well. And then if you're wearing a headset, when you play them, you get all the same sensations, the same tastes, the same smells, the same body feelings, everything. And so this is like an amazing invention they've been working on at this research lab. And Lillian, played by Nurse Ratched or Louise Fletcher, is kind of the head of the lab. And with Christopher Walken is part of the team too. So they start working on this, and they kind of get like a stable version, and they try it out for the boss, played by Cliff Robinson, and he loves it. And but there kind of is a twist in that the part of the financial backers is the Department of Defense. So they want to get in on it too for probably warfare purposes, but they explain it as improving soldier response time and performance on the battlefield and stuff like that. So Lillian isn't cool with that. Michael's not really cool with that, played by Christopher Walken, but it is what it is, so they kind of got to deal with it. And so they in the meantime, going on is this conflict between Michael's wife, Karen, played by Natalie Wood, and they're in the middle of a divorce, and they're selling their house. But she's brought on as part of the team as well to do the design on the final product, to kind of pare down the giant headpiece into something that looks a little bit more normal and smaller and easier to wear and things like that. So they decide that they can do this by putting all the main electronics and stuff will be remote. So
Well-
you would plug in the headpiece into a phone line and then access everything that way. So this kind of keeps the size down and everything. So
They also talk about room temperature
Oh, yeah.
superconductivity, and that's how they were able to do some of it. And this movie also really points out like how the technology would be abused like immediately.
Yeah, and that is a good point. They come out with this new chip that can be that can perform superconductivity at room temperature. So and it's super tiny, so they can get the size of the device way down as well. So anyway, so that's kind of what's going on with the invention itself. Throughout the movie, they have one team member, Gordy, who does all these different adventures with the headset on that they record. Like he goes horseback riding, he jumps out of an airplane, he does everything. He even has sex at one point. And if you're wearing the device while playing that recording, it feels like you are the one that's having sex.
And of course, the first instance of abuse was someone taking that segment where he's having an orgasm right at the end of it and just loops it.
Yeah. So one of the team members, Hal, at first doesn't want to play the tape. He said, "No, I'm cool. I don't want it." But he ends up taking it, takes the part where Gordy is having the orgasm that's being recorded, cuts it, and then splices it into a loop so that he can just wear that on his head and then play it over and over and over. And
basically breaks his brain.
Yeah, breaks his brain. They go into his basement where he's sitting there convulsing with the thing on his head, and they get him to snap out of it, and that's kind of a side part of the story that it.
And that was the gratuitous nudity scene.
Yeah, but the big part that this kind of hinges on is what happens to Lillian, and she's upset. She explains earlier in the movie, kind of the Chekhov's gun or whatever, that she when she gets upset, she feels sick, and during the
she's a chain smoker.
Yeah, she smokes a lot, so she carries around a little bottle of nitroglycerin for her heart. She has heart problems, and there's a point where she's in the lab by herself, and she burns herself on a soldering iron and gets pissed and drops an overhead projector and reaches down to pick it up and then starts having a heart attack. And she starts eating her pills and trying to dial out to get somebody to help her, but she realizes it's too late. This is the big one. So she puts the recorder on her head and records herself dying.
Being the scientist that she is right till the very end.
The researcher that she is, so she wants to record her death so that it'll be available for the other researchers to check out and see. And so that comes up as kind of the crux of the movie. Everybody wants to get a hold of this tape. It kind of like, what would you say? Michael wants it because he's a researcher, he's a scientist. He wants to know what happens when you die.
Well, Lillian was also his lover while he was separated from his wife.
What was she though?
That's the impression that I got when they went to that party in the beginning.
I think maybe they were really close to the point of
really, really close.
Like really close, but I don't know exactly what the relationship
friends with Benny's.
Maybe it doesn't really explicitly spell that out, but they do kiss. He does kiss her, and which is a weird kind of couple to see Christopher Walken with Nurse Ratched as a lover. But anyway, so they get the Michael gets, so what happens is that gets recorded. So that tape, it kind of plays a central part of the story where once they have that tape and the military also has been spying on the lab as well. They have cameras set up in the lab and they can see everything that's going on. And
they don't take over until after the Christopher Walken character, Michael, tests out the recording. And he starts it, but then has to stop it immediately to disconnect the heart and respiration function the feedback function from that, so that he can just get the mental portion of it.
Right. And so eventually, for meddling and getting too deep in this, Michael gets released from the project, and he's pissed, and he hacks into the database, and he finds out that it's actually called Project Brainstorm, and it's funded by the military, and he has his son who by accident puts on the headset what he has at work, what he has at home, while he's hacked into the system of a brainwashing tape that the military has created that will take your worst subconscious fears and present them to you like it was real life. And so his son goes into some kind of psychotic break, they say, and ends up in the hospital. Meanwhile, Michael says he wants to basically destroy his work because of how it's going to be used and because of Lillian's wishes as well.
They do show pilots piloting planes with their brains, essentially.
Right.
And like pulling 10G turns and shit.
And they also kind of, they don't spell it out, but they kind of allude to the fact that this machine can also make you almost superhuman in a way, by the way that, what's his name, Roy or Ray, after he almost gets killed by the orgasm loop, he becomes like, his stamina becomes like amazing. Like they show him running on a treadmill, and he doesn't even have to stop. You know, he keeps going on and on. He says he feels better than he's ever felt before. But
also, they talk about like being able to finish the 7th grade in 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So it's basically this machine can like revolutionize everything in the world. But they're upset because the military wants to use it to basically bomb people into smithereens. So it becomes a break-in to the lab story where Michael tries to get the tape that Lillian recorded via different espionage tactics and stuff, and he also wants to actually experience what's on the tape. So he gets Karen, his ex-wife, who they've kind of gotten back together to help him break into the lab, as well as one of the other guys that was working on the lab, and he finds a payphone that he can connect to the lab from, and puts on the headset, and he experiences what Lillian experienced while she was dying. And towards the end, they kind of send these commands to the lab that basically destroys everything. So
well, in that sequence where he's seeing her memories, it's interesting because it's basically showing all of her memories, and he can basically pick and choose, is what it almost seems like. He can pick and choose the different memories that he's involved in and take a look at them. And then it shows what looks like a hellscape almost, with like bodies all over the walls.
We'll go into that because I want to talk about that as far as like the effects and stuff go. But that's basically the movie in a nutshell. It's what I liked about it mainly is it's just this whole, not only just a sci-fi picture, but it's kind of got this philosophical theme that runs through it. That you know, basically this machine that could do anything, that could solve all the world's problems, is being used for the military-industrial complex. And also it brings up kind of this issue where if you are wearing this machine and your experiences and your senses are replaced by another person's, and you can experience any other person's reality, and
anything that they remember,
anything that they're doing, then what happens to your own reality while you're wearing this machine? Are you still yourself? Are you this other person? You know, metaphorically, what is going on as far as, you know, what kind of reality are you actually inhabiting? You know, is your own? Is it somebody else's? Is it you experiencing somebody else's, or are you that person mentally? You know, it's kind of weird that way, but I like the way it kind of does that. So anyway, we can go into the you know, the different parts of the movie.
There at the end.
Yeah. So
go over that real quick.
Yeah, so I want to tie that in with the effects themselves because this movie was made in '81, and what I thought they did with the there's a beginning where they're first testing out the machine, and they have this computer graphic that pops up that's kind of they're trying to tune into, and it shows like all these different colors and stuff, and it's an amazing sequence. I mean, for the time that they could produce this kind of graphic that shows that everything's in tune, everything's ready to go. When I saw that, I thought, man, that is freaking awesome, and it only gets better from there. I mean, the computer graphics they were, which it's the guy that directed it was kind of a special effects genius. Lovecraft turned me on to this website that showed that talked about how he did some of this stuff, like the afterlife shot and all that stuff, and he actually did all the effects from let's see, what did he did 2001 A Space Odyssey. So he wasn't a director originally. This is, I think, this and Silent
Blade Runner
Running
too, I think.
Yeah, so Andromeda Strain, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Blade Runner, he did all that as well, so you can see where his strengths are. So even though this movie is a little bit messy and convoluted, I think just the idea of having this device being the central character in the movie really helps it, because it's more about a concept than about some kind of the story itself is just kind of like a espionage drama story and military industrial complex and stuff. But what's really going on here is the idea of having a machine like this and what it can do for humanity, and all the questions that come around with, like, there's a part where he sees what his ex-wife actually thinks about him, Christopher Walken's character, what Karen, who's played by Natalie Wood, thinks about him, and he realizes, why his marriage failed, because he was so kind of wrapped up in himself, and he was basically an asshole because he was so involved in this work, and so he blew her off. And so that's why this marriage is basically over with. And what he does, to me, to fix this is kind of manipulative and creepy and kind of scummy, where he takes and creates a tape for her of all the good memories they had together, because she's already started
very emotionally manipulative.
Yeah, she's already started her own life. She has a new boyfriend that she really likes and everything, which I guess he's just out of the picture now. But he makes this tape for her that manipulates her emotions to show, hey, we had all these good times too, and she sees this tape and it plays this effect, because you feel the same emotions this person records as well as just what they're seeing. So she like falls back in love with him, and then so they get back together basically based on this tape he made. And I don't know, that felt weird. I thought that was kind of like Joe said, emotionally manipulative to do that to her.
See, I like how she said when it was first done that it was too short, and then all of a sudden he thought it was negative, and then all of a sudden she like collapsed in his lap or whatever.
Yeah, and that was strange, but when as far as the effects go, I really liked the even like the holographic tape that they had that they were recording to. It looks like a hologram, it's just a really cool kind of practical prop that they made, and to show it the waveforms and on the screen as it's recording and what's going on in your head and stuff, and it's got this cool laser light that kind of scans over the tape, and it's pretty cool setup. Like they make it believable, the way it looks, even though the technology doesn't exist. I thought that was pretty cool.
It was very practical effects throughout the whole thing. I don't remember I don't remember any digital effects.
Well, I guess the digital effects would be like you mentioned.
At the very end.
Yeah, at the end, and like when they show Lillian dying, and so she remembers, how they say your life goes before your eyes when you die, and they had this kind of bubble effect with videos playing in each bubble representing parts of her life and stuff, and I thought that was really well done.
That's where I was talking about how it kind of felt like he could pick what he watched.
Right, yeah, and going when she dies, spoilers here, when she dies, she records what happens when she's dying, and part of that is a ascent into the afterlife, which when Walken has the headset on, he's watching it, and it goes into outer space, and then it approaches. Oh, you're right. First, it goes through kind of this hellscape that looks like what is that movie where they're on the ship and they play that recording of like demons and stuff, and it's very
Are you talking about
Lovecraftian.
Event Horizon?
Event Horizon. Yeah, it looks like a scene from Event Horizon where they have all these weird organs and entrails and people screaming and covered by guts and stuff like that before he ascends into like this almost like a heaven-like place.
Well, first, he goes through and like sees Earth from space,
Mm-hmm.
and then like kind of goes out into the stars, and then, if I remember right, you saw some kind of soulscape where everybody else was, and it was joining them or something.
Yeah, it was like a going through different galaxies, and then there's these different like lighting effects where it's like stars that are speaking to you and stuff. But past that, once you get past that to the final area, it almost looks like angels are traveling in lines that are wavering up into like to different planetary objects that look like giant stars and stuff. And you hear a choir like an angelic choir in the background. Like this is what the afterlife actually is.
And
And
Wasn't there like a bunch
walking-
of these little angel-like things floating to a giant light right
Yeah,
before she pulls them back?
that's what I was talking about. And
Right,
yeah,
and then the walk-in character kind of seems to die,
yeah.
and then
So I thought he was going to die, and if he died, I thought, man, this would be the freaking perfect ending to this movie, to witness the afterlife and then have it, and then you just go into it, and then that's the end. But I guess they
you
had
aren't
to bring
allowed to know.
No, yeah, you have to bring him back to have the good ending. But I thought it would have been a perfect ending if he would have actually died after finally witnessing the whole tape, and because Natalie Wood was crying and stuff, and
You
but
promised me. You promised me.
it was just sappy the way they ended it. I thought, but which is fine. I mean, I guess they have to do that for Hollywood's sake. I don't know, but I just thought that sequence was amazing, as well as like the whole revisiting your life in front of your eyes as you die and stuff, and just the way it was done didn't look cheap or bad at all. Like bad, it didn't look like bad CGI. It was so cool the way he was able to pull this off. I don't know. Even after reading that article, I still don't understand how he was able to pull that off in 1981. When did Tron come out? Do you remember?
83, 84?
Okay, and this looked way better than Tron did. I mean, Tron had
That's
its
why I
own
was thinking
aesthetic too.
it might not have had its own, or it might not have been
CGI.
anything other than practical effects.
You could be right. It might have been practical effects, just a lot of
And drawing.
overlapping films and stuff like that to get that effects. But it was really well done, and it was amazing. To me, it was amazing. And in that article I read, it said that Trumbull, who was directed this, he wanted to do this new technique for the film itself, where he was going to use 70 millimeter film and shoot it all at 60 frames per second, and that was going to be the film, so that everything would look super sharp and super clean. But MGM didn't want to put that much money into the production for some kind of technique that was only going to be used in one film, but which is kind of weird because this technique would have been perfect for this film. But when we see how they used it for, what was it, The Hobbit, I think they did that with, or Peter Jackson, one of those movies they did it, was it at 60 FPS or 120 FPS or something like that? And it just looked crazy. It looked bad. It just looked terrible. But for this movie, it would have looked excellent, used in the right circumstance, because you want that high-tech sci-fi digital hard,
And
edges.
it mentioned this well, I was looking on the wiki page to see if they had anything about the CGI. I remembered this because they mention it here. Like all of the normal scenes are very letterbox,
Mm-hmm.
and then like the when they're in someone else's mind, it's just panoramic.
Like a very
The aspect
wide
ratio
panoramic
changes.
scene, right? So is that what they did then? Then just use that technique just for the kind of dream sequences.
Trumbull instead shot the virtual reality sequences in 24 frames per second, Super Panavision 70 with an aspect ratio of 2:1. The rest of the film was shot in the conventional 35mm with an aspect ratio of approximately 1.7 to 1.
Okay, so that makes sense. So he was able to kind of cheat his way into that technique for the parts that he wanted to. But I had no idea what to expect from this movie. I didn't expect this. I didn't expect this to be this groundbreaking, but it was amazing. I thought.
I think I saw this movie as a little kid, but I don't think I ever paid attention to it.
Yeah, and like I said, the story itself is, to me, is not the main character, or the plot isn't the main point of this movie. I think it's the device itself and what it can do and what it can accomplish, and kind of what
The
it
way it's
symbolizes.
used.
Yeah, and exactly how it's used and things like that that really set this apart. I think this. I mean, this is just my opinion, but so far on this show, I think this is the best movie we've done on this show, and it's probably up there now with one of my favorite sci-fi movies. Period. Regardless of the show.
I have to say, it's up there, but it'll never beat The Last Starfighter.
Oh my God!
I was going to say Virtuosity.
I think this is much better than Virtuosity, as far
Denzel.
as that type of philosophical backing to that depth to something like this is. I just thought it was great.
Extremely well done. The acting was excellent. So
Yeah, it was an awesome movie.
You have an awesome cast too.
And this was Natalie Wood's last movie before she died.
Right. This is her last movie, and it wasn't going to be finished. Trumbull had to talk MGM into finish making this movie, and they weren't going to finish financing it. So what happened was Lloyd's of London had insured this movie. Like most producers take out insurance on a movie, and Lloyd's of London said, "Look, we want this movie to be completed too, so we will finance the movie with what you have insured it for the rest of the budget to finish up post-production and stuff, and so that this movie actually gets made." And so since Natalie Wood died, they had a couple of scenes that she still needed to be in, so they used her sister, Lana Wood, to complete those scenes where it wasn't really a close-up of her, but it's still somebody that was close enough that you could pull it off. So it's actually Lana Wood that's in part of those scenes. So I thought that was pretty cool. Little factoid about this movie. But let me post this link into the show notes about Brainstorm that Lovecraft turned me on to, because it tells a lot of cool, like, extra info about it and stuff. I'll put it in the show notes. But yeah, if you haven't seen this, and I wish I would have seen it at the theater. Like, I wish they would have. Even if they show it at the theater now, I'd go see it again.
Yeah, I was going to say you'd have been a toddler.
Yeah, but I mean, I wish I could see it now at the theater rather than watching it on the small screen. It's really cool. The whole Natalie Wood deal was kind of weird too. How she.
Well, there's always Google Cardboard.
Mm-hmm. So.
That would
But
be...
I thought Louise Fletcher was the best actor in this movie, Lillian. I think she did awesome. I mean, Walken is a type of actor that has always been odd to me. I respect him as an actor.
No, I agree with you that Christopher Walken's roles are usually a bit more odd, but I think this was a bit more of a stretch for him, and he did it really well.
Yeah, I would agree, because he played that type of scientist, researcher mindset of almost like where he was detached from reality, like their marriage and stuff, and was just so focused on the project itself, and he was able to pull that off pretty realistically, I thought. And the tech in this is definitely a tech movie. I mean, just the tech in this, I can see this maybe one day in the far future.
The iterative changes, the iterative improvements of the helmet itself, going from the giant prototype to the much smaller thing that it ended up being. Yeah, I thought that was really well done.
The whole design element that his ex-wife brought to it. I don't know. I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. I wasn't expecting this at all, and I just thought I was blown away, especially when at the end when he finally gets to experience what Lillian experienced when she died, and I was just like totally glued to my screen. I didn't know what the hell was going to happen, but it was so cool. But that's my only complaint is I wish he would have died right then at the end, when he finally saw what to see. I think that would have made this movie a lot more
I
impactful.
thought the exact same thing, that it would have made a really great ending if he had just died right there.
Just been way more impactful. Like I don't want to see a bummer ending, but I think in this instance it would have worked better than what they did. But oh well, it can't be a perfect movie, but it was pretty damn good. Thumbs up from me.
Oh, absolutely. It was a fantastic movie. There were some weird things though. I know you were talking about how it wasn't perfect, and I might have missed part of it when my audio kind of shut out there. But he kept on talking about how they were using that recording of her dying as their basis for the other stuff, when the other stuff didn't seem to have anything to do, like the other stuff being the recording of the torturing the guy or whatever to for mind control. They were kind of using the way they talked. It was kind of like one and the same, which it didn't. It's not one and the same. It was two like completely separate, different things, and I thought that was kind of confusing for a while there.
Yeah, because they labeled both tapes as toxic. You remember that?
Right.
Yeah, the mind control one and the death
They
one.
labeled Lillian's tape as toxic because they spliced themselves in when Christopher Walken's character was first watching it, after he had shut off the heart thing and the respiration thing, and they didn't do that on theirs, and so their guy that was hooked in at the same time died.
Yeah.
It was the same guy that they used to do all of those recordings of all that stuff.
Yeah, he was actually like a spy or a mole. He was part of the Defense Department. He was their guy. But I think maybe they could have used just the fact that you would feel like you were dying as a basis for that brainwashing tape to make a person that scared. Maybe they could have done something like that without actually killing them. I don't know. Put that kind of fear into them. They don't really make it clear.
Control the level of feedback. Yeah.
But yeah, and if you haven't seen Silent Running, that one's got Bruce Dern in it. That's a really cool movie too. That was made before this, but it's another sci-fi movie. But it's a cool movie. That's his only other movie this guy's done.
Did you have anything else that you wanted to add there, Honky?
No, not really. Other than I was trying to figure out where I've seen Cliff Robertson before, but he actually played in the Spider-Man movies. He actually played Uncle Ben.
He's been in a lot of stuff. Yeah, I recognized him right off. He's a big character actor.
I was trying to find other things too, but I searched his name up while we were talking about it, and that's one of the first things that came up was the 2001, 2002 Spider-Man movies, Sam Raimi ones.
He was in Twilight Zone, Outer Limits.
I was just looking through the movies.
Escape from L.A. He was President Adam.
He was in Malone with Burt Reynolds. Dead Reckoning. Let's see. Yeah, Escape from L.A. Was he the president in Escape from L.A.? Yeah.
He was the president in Escape from L.A.
He's been in a ton of TV stuff, character actor. By the way, if you don't know the whole Natalie Wood story, that's definitely worth taking a look at. Her and Robert Wagner and Christopher Walken on that boat, and how she died in mysterious circumstances and stuff like that. It's a kind of an interesting piece of history. Which I didn't know this, but I was reading about it, and earlier in her life, like she was one of the biggest stars in the world, along with like she was right up there with Elizabeth Taylor and a couple of other women, and she had quit acting for a long time and kind of made a comeback, and this was her last role.
I know that.
What'd you think, Lovecraft?
I liked it a lot. I had seen this like probably like 20 years ago, but and I know I enjoyed it, but yeah, when it came up as the selection, I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna like this. But it was really good, and I mean the opening sequence graphics. That's what got me thinking like, wow, this is pretty impressive for the time that it was made in, and that's what led me to do a little research and dig that article up. But
Yeah, that article's really good.
yeah, I really liked it. And it was just a couple of interesting things like this high tech lab and somebody's basically just chain smoking in there. It was just like kind of interesting stuff. And
It was weird to see that. Yeah.
yeah, so good product placement for Coke, and there was a couple scenes with Coca-Cola in it,
Yeah.
and then later on I think he was eating some brand. I think it was Harris potato chips. So it was just like just right in there. He's digging in, eating the chips. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting stuff. But no, I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was a really good movie. Yeah, definitely one of the better ones that have come up for the selections though. But yeah, I give it 2 thumbs up if that's possible.
Yeah. I thought it was excellent.
Okay, so that's like a thumbs up from everybody. Maybe.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. So now we got to pick a new movie.
Well,
Johnny Mnemonic.
I haven't.
I don't think that's on the list.
I haven't done any coding lately. I haven't done anything actually. So I don't know if y'all want to.
Let's
say-
rewatch The Last Starfighter.
No.
No.
Who,
The
who
Last
ha-
Starfighter was a bad movie. Just no.
who hasn't picked a
Tank
movie yet?
Girl.
You haven't picked a movie yet, have you, Honky?
I don't know.
I don't think you
I
have.
looked at the list in front of
Gattaca.
Take a look at the list.
it.
Gattaca.
Let's see.
Gattaca is a tech movie,
Most definitely, yeah.
especially since it has Uma Thurman in it. Nemesis 4.
All right. I think I'm looking at an old list, but
It should be in the Lugcast folder.
yeah.
Did you update it when we watched Virtuosity? I
Yeah.
see you added the Tomorrowland, but we have to mark Virtuosity as watched.
Oh, that's right. There you go.
And Brainstorm, I don't know where Brainstorm is.
It's still towards the top. I marked it.
We haven't done Hackers yet from 1995.
Now this is
Moon-
Honky's pick.
Moon 44 or Dark City.
We did Moon 44, didn't we?
No,
Yeah,
didn't
we
do
did.
Moon 44.
Yeah, it's marked. We did.
Uh-huh.
We did
Oh,
Moon
which
44.
one was I thinking of? Dang it.
Cyberjack.
That's the last one we did, right? Cyberjack?
No,
Or a couple of shows ago?
we did Cyber Tracker.
Oh, I thought we did Cyberjack too.
No, we did
We
not do
did Cyberjack, didn't
Cyberjack.
we?
No, we did not do Cyberjack.
Are you
Emilio
sure?
Estevez has not traveled through time yet.
Oh, no. We definitely haven't done that.
Mick Jagger has not let him go.
Oh, it's got Mick Jagger in it?
Got Mick Jagger in it.
No, Cyberjack is Virtual Assassin. Remember? With Brian James?
Then I'm
I think
thinking
you're talking about
Cyberjacker.
Free Jack.
Free Jack.
Free
Thank
Jack.
you.
Oh, okay.
Is Free Jack on the list? It better be on the list.
Cyberjack,
think
I
so.
need to mark
Now
that
it's
off.
on the list.
Cyberjack 4 stars, I think.
What's the one with Tom Selleck and I think Gene Simmons where he's like the disables like the robots? You guys remember that one?
Yeah, yeah.
Sounds vaguely familiar.
Let's see. I don't know what it's called. Wasn't Laser Blast. It was because it
Runaway?
Might have been. Is it made in the 80s?
Yeah.
84. Tom
Yeah.
Selleck and Gene Simmons.
Yeah, that's it.
Runaway.
Yep, that's it.
Is that on the list?
Can be
Either
now.
way. I say we do it.
Okay, Runaway. Tom Selleck, Cynthia Rhodes. Oh,
Christy Alley.
Oh,
Gene
Who's
Simmons.
got it?
it's
Who's
written
got
directed by Michael Crichton. Wow.
Written and directed by Michael Crichton.
That's
really?
Michael Crichton? Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
In the near future, a police officer specializes in malfunctioning robots. When a robot turns out to have been programmed to kill, he begins to uncover a homicidal plot to create killer robots, and his son becomes a target.
I feel like I've seen this, but
Well, it's up to you, Honky. You are the picker.
Go for it.
I'm
Sounds great to me.
looking. It's called Runaway.
Yeah.
Runaway from 1984.
It may have been on the list before and then just got deleted whenever the server crashed. I don't see it now. I'll put it on there. '84.
Did we see this? We didn't see this.
No.
No, we haven't seen this.
I'm gonna be watching this movie, and the whole time, just Danny's mustache.
Mm-hmm. Jealous.
Really, no.
Did we see this?
We did see this.
We did?
We did see this.
This was not on the list, and we haven't watched it.
Well, it may have been on the list before my server crashed. Well, pick another one then.
I'm watching the video for it, and it shows. I feel like we've seen this.
We haven't seen Cybertrucker 2.
That's true.
Also, in that Brainstorm article, they mentioned, what was it? Something about one of the movies that's on the list.
I know you started watching the preview for Runaway. It looks a lot like Moon 44. Like, a lot.
Do you remember seeing this Lovecraft?
Oh yeah, I saw it like a long time ago.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot of Gene Simmons movies, but I was, I think I was going through my Magnum PI phase as a kid, and I was like, yeah, I got to see some of his other stuff, and this came out. I think I saw it on HBO or something like that, like not long after it first came out.
Moon 44.
Honky, I think
What?
I saw this, and then I was talking about it on the show, and I said for y'all to watch it. And I think you did watch it.
Right, but it was not a part of...
It wasn't a part of the list, no.
All right, we'll do Runaway then.
Okay. I'll put it on the list.
I remember that movie. Dreamscape. Is Dreamscape on the list?
Dreamscape is awesome.
Dreamscape should be on the list.
I think everybody here's seen it, though.
I don't think I've seen it.
You've never seen Dreamscape, where he turns into that cobra, and they can go into people's dreams?
I haven't seen it in like 15, 20 years.
So Runaway? Is that what we're doing?
Sure.
Okay.
But we're adding Dreamscape to the list.
Okay.
Because we need to add more things to the list.
That's true.
Dennis Quaid, there we go.
Oh, Inner Space.
No, you can't keep add movies that you've seen. You can't, it's against the rules.
Is there any tech involved in Dreamscape?
Yes, they use tech to enter people's dreams.
Okay.
And then they're able to do it without the tech later on.
Very minimal tech.
Very, very young Dennis Quaid. Wow.
Joe, you can't keep adding movies that you already saw.
Jackie added that movie, so shut up.
You told her to.
No, she told me to.
Mm-hmm.
Titan AE. She just told me to add it a second. Tell them you told me to add it.
All
I
right.
told them to add it because you guys haven't got that one, and it's awesome technology, and you still have life force to get technology to run.
Okay. We've been defeated.
Because I would have put Treasure Planet.
Treasure Planet.
I saw that not too long ago. That was a pretty cool movie.
Treasure Planet's awesome.
It's kind of a mix of traditional animation with CGI.
All right.
Okay, I've added it, Honky, to the show notes.
All right. Cool. Thank you. Hold on a second.
Oh, Hackers is on the list, but nobody wants to watch it for some reason. I don't know. I finally convinced them to watch Sneakers.
Well, the randomizer 5000 will be up and running by the next show, so we won't have this issue anymore.
What? Lovecraft doesn't just get to randomly pick one?
Well, I guess he can.
Messed up.
He hasn't picked one yet.
I feel like I kind of stole Honky's pick for this one. I mentioned it, and he's like, "Oh, let's go with it." So,
Well, it's all right. It's been cast in stone. So
Can't find another movie just like Robotrix or Universal Soldiers.
I'm sure we could, but do we want to watch that? I'd watch another Robotrix.
Yeah, I'd probably watch another
I would-
Robotrix,
I
but
wouldn't
I don't know if
watch,
I'd talk about it with you guys.
I wouldn't watch Universal Soldiers
I'd
again.
watch it with Jackie. Porn. It was softcore porn.
Basically. So has anybody been working on any projects? Anything interesting?
A little bit of 3D design here and there, nothing overly exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I designed extension arm. Sits at an angle so that I can more properly adjust where my phone is sitting when it's on the left-hand side. Oh, I did get a iPhone for work.
Why?
Because they wanted me to have a phone and they no longer do Android phones.
Oh. That's unfortunate.
That's what I said. Because you know how much I just love me an iPhone.
Right.
Have you ever used an iPhone?
I used iPads. Trying to remember. If I did use an iPhone, it was like one of the first models of iPhone. My in-laws use. But my dad had an iPhone, and he kind of liked his iPhone. My sister, she's a bitch. Oh.
A lot of people love them. But both my aunts use iPhones. My uncle, my mom, and my sister use Androids. Oh, my dad uses iPhone too.
And I will be going to Florida soon, and I gotta figure out what technology I'm taking with me. Because how many laptops do I really need to take? That's kind of the number I'm leaning towards, honestly. Huh?
2 for everybody.
I meant just for me. I don't know what everybody else is bringing. That's none of my damn business. Yeah, JoJo's about to lose access to every piece of electronics he's ever seen because he's been just a little turd lately. But thankfully, he should be attending school in person next year, and I think that will do a lot towards improving his mother's mental health. Which will go a long way to improving my mental health.
Poor JoJo.
Yes, poor JoJo is the correct answer there. Because, you know, after a little while, him and his mother just don't get along.
So is he actually doing homeschooling right now, or
Online schooling.
online schooling?
13 in like he's
Next month he turns 13, so he's going through the terrible teenage years. Oh, don't worry, Honky, you will get to experience that soon enough.
I'm aware. Some days I got a 10-year-old, and some days I feel like I'm already getting close to that.
Yeah, it gets bad about that age, and then it just gets worse. Then around 16, you just want to throttle them. I'll let you know when that ends.
I keep telling everybody in this house that 18, you're out of the house.
You know, I said that too, and until they turned 18, and then I can't get rid of them. And you say that, but you know, are you really going to send your kid out to, you know, live on the street?
No, you can't do that.
I really think the military would have done well for Kai, but I'm just her father, and what the fuck do I know?
I regret not joining the military. I really wish I would have.
I don't know. I think I would have been horrible in the military.
I mean, I would have been too, but
I was horrible in the military, but you know what? It worked out.
Yeah, I really regret not joining. Too late now.
I'm way too much of a lazy bastard. I understand the military would fix that, but I didn't want it fixed.
You know, I knew guys in the military that were lazy bastards that just did the absolute minimum to get by, and they did that for 4 years. But that's the type of thing that was able to, you know, get them where they wanted to be, which was having their college paid for, or no longer in the little podunk town that they come from.
Health insurance.
Yeah, the world has changed a lot since I joined the military, and people are seeing that the U.S. government doesn't always provide the things that they say they will. Education, healthcare, things like that for their veterans. Now, it has improved to some extent, but people also see the instability worldwide, and they don't want to join because they don't want to, you know, go to war.
Die. Yeah, that would suck.
That would suck.
And yeah,
I agree.
a lot of it is you know, people can see now the government isn't providing the things that.
I didn't want to be sent off to somewhere where I didn't necessarily agree with the situation that's going on, and I have no control over that, and I just have to do what I'm told to do. And it doesn't matter how good you are at your job. It doesn't. I mean, all you have to be is in the wrong place at the wrong time, and all of a sudden you cease to exist.
Well, that's life. That's literally life if you think about it. But the whole thing is that if you do join the military, you're putting trust in your government to send you to places that you will morally agree with. And even if you don't morally agree, the only choices you have are go anyway or go to jail.
Right. And again, I understand that the chances of you dying randomly is true wherever you are, but the chances are, the percentage increases exponentially when you're standing in an area where there's a lot more mortar shells coming at you than there is just the possibility of getting too close to a bus.
I live in Texas, and
Fair
I was
enough.
like 2 miles away from a mass shooting when it happened. So
fair enough.
You could luck out like my grandpa. He was stationed in Aruba. And just hung out on the beach the whole time.
My asshole of a brother has been in Hawaii for like a decade now. In the military.
Yeah. You never know. Another friend of mine I grew up with, he was stationed in South Korea and just hung out.
South Korea.
Yeah, he just hung out.
I know a lot of guys that just, after they got out, they stayed in South Korea.
Mm-hmm.
Opened up a bar or something.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to downplay the military at all. I'm just saying it definitely wasn't for me.
It would have been for me back then. Like back then, I didn't know anything about politics. I didn't know anything about the government. I didn't know anything about any of that stuff. So that'd have been great. Now with my anarchistic brain and refusal to obey authority, there's no way. But at the time, it would have been awesome.
Yeah, well, that's why they try for the 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
They're more easily moldable.
We haven't lived yet,
Yeah. Moldable. They're also physically a lot more in shape.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
The shape is less round.
Yes. And
so.
you are their investment, and their investment's a lot. They're investing in the nice newer models as opposed to the old fat models that are more prone to breakage.
Yeah, and I don't know. Lately, it seems like they're doing more and more to be more exclusionary. So
I had a friend who kept on trying for the military, and for one reason or another, he never make it in.
Like, they're not taking people with GEDs anymore, not without a waiver. They're not taking people that score low on the ASFABs anymore unless they can get a double waiver. I mean, I knew guys that scored like a 12 on the ASFAB, and I swear you get like a 15 for writing your name right. So, yeah, Mordancy, yes, that is absolutely correct. They did score a 12, and they got waivers to get into the military. Oh, you knew a guy that scored a 4? Oh, horrible. But yeah, I mean, what can you say here? But yeah. They also now want to specifically exclude transgender people from the military. And one of the things about joining the military is it allows for one free cosmetic surgery per soldier, which is why a lot of your transgender people joined, because it was the only way that they were going to be able to afford the gender reassignment surgery.
Like you could get a free nose job or something?
Oh yeah, I knew a girl who was able to get a boob job before she joined the military because she was working as a stripper, and the people that owned the strip club were willing to pay for her to get these like ginormous melons. And she hated them, and so she joined the military because she couldn't afford the breast reduction surgery. That's how she was able to get them back down to a normal size.
By the way, Runaway is in the Matrix chat, so if you need it, there it's there. In the usual place.
Oh yeah. You were allowed one cosmetic surgery and just to, help your mental state essentially. And I don't know if they do that anymore. I think they removed that. And then they had the don't ask, don't tell policy back in the day when I was in, but it was non-exclusionary. It's just you just didn't talk about your sexuality. But I don't know what the policy is these days. I thought they removed that. I don't know if they added it back. But it just feels like it's more exclusionary now. So.
Can we talk about this little computer?
Which one?
Which one?
The Beepberry.
Oh, did nobody have any other
got me a
products or
link.
anything before we?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know. Did anybody have anything else?
I'll talk about random crap all day if you let me. Go ahead,
Mordancy, what are you up to?
Mordancy's got something.
You got on mute.
I was trying to figure out why my push to talk button was gone. So I have two Proxmox instances on cloud services and one internally in my home on hardware. The one internally, I finally have working and routing.
All right.
Routing traffic. Yeah, I figured out the virtual bridges and all that kind of stuff. Since I'm not doing any weird ports, each VM has its own own VLAN, and the VLANs are all visible. They're all part of my entire span of VLAN. The entire span in my home network. However, I can't get subdomains to route to my containers and Proxmox in my virtual instances. I have no idea what I'm doing wrong. I have no idea what I have to do.
So
nothing seems to be working.
But you can get them to route to your VMs, but not your containers?
I can get them to route to VMs and containers in my local network at home. I can't figure out how to do it in my cloud instances.
All your
cloud
instances.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I don't have a cloud instance. It'd be hard for me to help you there.
So like Linux Panacea, I'm trying to have blog.linuxpanacea route to one container or VM, and GitLab to route to one container or VM. Yeah, just via the subdomain.
And then what are you using as far as like proxy?
So I've tried using the Apache 2 setup within Proxmox to route the subdomains to the IP addresses of the containers, and that I can't get that to work. I was starting to set up Nginx reverse proxy, and I was also doing research on how to, and I don't think I can do it, use the subdomain to route via NAT tables, via the firewall.
Have you tried Nginx Proxy Manager yet?
And that's what I'm trying to install right now. That's where I stopped the other day.
That may help. That when Honky found that, man, that made my life so much easier because I was manually configuring all the Nginx configurations by hand, and it sucked. I mean, I could get it done, but everything had so many different. Do it.
You did that using Nginx reverse proxy inside of a container?
No.
Or directly or did you just directly add it to your Proxmox instance?
So I had Nginx running within each VM or container. If I had one applicate, like I had Matrix running in a VM, I'd run Nginx within that same VM, and then I'd proxy it out of the VM with an Nginx configuration. So instead of having one proxy, I had like proxy configurations for each VM, and it was a pain in the ass. But once I got everything separated and used Nginx on its own computer, away from Proxmox, it worked a lot better. And I was just running plain Nginx. And then I replaced Nginx with Nginx Proxy Manager running on its own little computer, or you can run it on a VM, it doesn't matter. And that worked even better just because I didn't have to configure everything by hand. I didn't have to write all the code by hand. But I started out with Nginx installed in every container that ran an application, or in every VM that ran an application, and that is a very messy, stupid way to do it.
It's got to be an easier way.
Well, yeah. So you already tried Nginx just by itself in its own container, right?
No. I was trying to install Nginx reverse proxy manager in Proxmox.
That's how I have mine installed currently. But it's
not as a VM or a container. Just I sign into my Proxmox server,
okay.
and I'm trying to install it.
I got you. I have it in a container on that tiny computer that remember I got that box of computers. Well, one of those computers I kept because I paid for it, and all I have running on there is Proxmox and one container that has Nginx Proxy Manager running inside of the container.
Yeah, we're never going to stop giving you hell about that, by the way.
I know it. That's fine. That's fine. You can. I have another computer I'm trying to figure out what to do with. It's not a bad one. It's a little Dell Optiplex, a small form factor. I think it's 3040 with a 6th gen i5 in it. And I've got a 4 terabyte SSD that I can put it in it. And I think it's got 16 gigs of RAM. So
that's pretty darn good. I mean,
yeah,
great server.
But I don't really have a use for it. So
great Docker server.
But I can do that with my main Proxmox server, you know.
Good. You can back up my audio collection too. The other server.
Yeah, you could if you had my computer.
No, I meant at your house because you should have one off-site backup.
Well, if you ever want to do that, you can. I can, but I would probably run it on my regular backup server and just give you an account.
You want me to just dump it on your Nextcloud and see what happens?
No. Well, you could try. But you're free to use my backup server, my Proxmox backup server. I think I've got 16 terabytes on there. Storage. Mirrored, so 32 total.
16 practical, though.
Yeah, 16.
I need more hard drives. I'm going to have to order some more.
Oh, man. Netminer has a bunch of them. Because I sent them all mine. On my old spinning rust.
Mordancy's Bitcoin will be worth some more in the future at one point, and he'll send me some.
So will Bitcoin ever come back, do you think?
Probably not Bitcoin specifically, but cryptocurrency will.
I think it's might be close to the time where you have to figure out which one you need to move to.
Yeah, I'm there. I've got a lot of Ethereum and some Bitcoin, and I got a lot of other random coins and shit too.
Spread out your portfolio because who knows? Who knows?
And no matter what, don't go with Citibank's, Bank of London, or Jamie Dimon's.
See, mine is just all on my Ledger wallet.
They're all creating centralized digital currencies.
Isn't the U.S. thinking about doing that too? Didn't they have a plan? The Fed had a plan for their own.
I think it's with J.P. Morgan.
Oh, is it?
Well, yeah, the U.S. currency will probably eventually be digital because it's easier to tax. But that's also part of the reasons why they essentially want every other cryptocurrency to fail. So the only news that you hear about is, bad news about crypto in mainstream news. So, yeah, they want your standard crypto to fail so that they can put in their own that is backed by the government and controlled by the government. And we can tax you for if you sneeze because it's all on the blockchain.
Any
Use my
other
conspiracy theories.
any other thing? Have you been doing any media stuff, Mordancy?
No, I'm trying to get the screen resolution to work as two separate monitors on the setup I have, and I'm shopping around for speakers so I can do the audio stuff.
Have you tried any drawing yet?
I drew a very terrible elephant and deleted it.
Well,
How
how
did
do
the
you
whole
like
drawing
that? How do you like
process
that
work?
tablet though?
What?
Go ahead.
How did the whole drawing process go, though?
I mean, it was. I need to learn all the stuff with the tools and things. I used a wider, like between pen and marker width, so it was kind of a thick lines on it. But it's pretty good. Just seemed like I'll just have to practice.
So, was the problem the tools, or figuring out the tools, or you just feel like you just did a crappy job with the picture?
Oh, I did a crappy job with the picture. It was like a 2-minute elephant I drew.
Oh, okay.
But I just got in like it was Microsoft Paint and just started drawing.
I got you.
Started with the ears, and then the trunk, and just kind of added to it. But most of the graphic editing tools have a large learning curve, and then of course I learned some drawing stuff when I was younger in middle school and high school, but not to where I did some amazing stuff back then, but I think that's going to take me a while to build back up to that. If it even happens.
I'm sure it will. Practice. So I've been screwing around with my home network. We've got a point here where we don't have cable TV anymore. We only have just the internet from Comcast, and so I've noticed that there's like a little bit of a lag. So I checked on. I own my own cable modem, so I checked to see whether my cable modem was compatible with the amount of data I was using, and it didn't fall onto that list. So I purchased a new cable modem, and then I realized that I don't feel like I'm still not getting the speeds that I wanted. So I was looking at it, and I think the Netgear router that I was using it basically went from the cable modem to that router. I think that was only went up to 100 gigabit. I mean, not 100 gigabit, 100 megabits, and wasn't a gigabit router. So it was a choking point. So which, by the way, it is somewhat difficult just to find a non-Wi-Fi router anywhere to buy, because every fucking thing wants to either be right now, a biggest thing to look to find is mesh. Everything is mesh. As soon as the first things that always come up with it, like any major retail place, is going to be mesh. Not that there's anything wrong with mesh. I didn't want a mesh router. I didn't even want Wi-Fi router. I just wanted a straight up router.
Most people's houses aren't big enough for mesh. I mean, I have a 2600 square foot house. I don't need a mesh router. My one Wi-Fi router will cover all of my house, except I will have less capability out in the garage. But that's because it's going through a whole bunch of brick.
I have one repeater set up in my living room, and that's just because I have a I think it's just an Amazon plug that goes up in my son's room that occasionally lost connection to the internet. So I put the repeater on down by the living room, and it sent enough signal out where I didn't need anything else really. But so I figured that was the choking point, and I tried looking around to buy another, just another regular router, a 4-port hub
4-port hub.
router.
I use the Ubiquity.
How much the Ubiquity ran you? What, like 60, 70?
60, 70? Something like that, yeah.
So a while back, I had bought this TP-Link router with the purposes of putting like OpenWRT or DDWRT on it, which I wound up doing, but somehow I wound up bricking. And so because I bricked it, I wound up sticking it into my drawer over here, and it sat there for a long time. So I pulled it out, which it is technically a Wi-Fi router, but I pulled it out and started looking around as to how to unbrick it. And I found out that there is a way to unbrick it because you can run updates through it through. And now I started talking about it, I forgot what the hell it was called. IFT. Shit. I just pull up this and. TFTP. So through TFTP, I was able to then basically reissue the. I had it. I was able to update it to the original firmware, and from the original firmware, I actually went back to DDWRT because. Number one, usually the open source router software will give you more control over your network. Plus, I was thinking that I might want to try to add like a snort or something, like an intrusion detection to my network. I'm not sure. After I have everything in, I'm not sure that I really want to. I'm going to look into that later. But I was able to use that to get the original on there, and I was able to get DDWRT on there, and I think with everything running on my network is still causing, because there's so many things running on there, it's still causing a little bit of problems, but it's still definitely a lot better than it was. When I initially just had one laptop and the hooked straight into the router, I was able to get like 600, which I was supposed to be getting down between 4 and 6. Now, if I probably run a speed test, it's most things are hitting somewhere between 80 to 100, like 110. I think anything else on my network, I don't think I've gotten anything better than 110, but it's still an improvement as to what it was before. But I just basically took that TP-Link router. I shut all Wi-Fi off.
Are you supposed to be getting a gig?
I'm supposed to be getting about 600. I think is what I'm paying for. Yep, but between hardware and software, I shut off all wireless capabilities from this router and just had it as a wired router. So that because the way my network is set up is it goes from the cable modem into the router, and the router is basically kind of what I consider my DMZ, the first part of it, because that's where I put all of my servers and stuff, and then from there it goes down to the other router that I have is an ASUS router. That's where I have the Wi-Fi set up, where people, my kids will hook their tablets up to the all of the smart switches and stuff, and all of the television, all of the streaming services and stuff are going through. But all the servers that are connected to the internet go to that first part. It was kind of a pain because when that happened, I also had gotten DHCP kicked in and released my old IP address, and so I had to go back and to Dyn DNS and switch my IP address to everything that I had set up, all my servers, and then
No, I remember all the companies, Comcast, Spectrum, they used to give you a static IP address for a fairly low price, and now they just say if you want a static IP, you must be a business, so we're going to charge you through the butthole.
Yeah, you have
Right.
to get a business class address or a business class plan.
right, which is why I wasn't
Sucks.
able to run my own email server.
Yep.
But I mean, I had that last IP address for a very long time, and then when I switched to the router, when I switched the modem, I was surprised that it didn't switch the IP. But when I switched the router, it switched the IP, so I had to go into Dyn DNS and then reswitch everything.
What are you shaking your head for, Joe?
Because you're pulling off that pay me like one of your French girls pose.
I'm getting sleepy. I'm sorry. So, how are you testing your speeds? Do you use iPerf?
I've actually just been using the one of the web pages, speedtest.net. What I'm trying to do is just run everything off, try to test everything from the same place to try to get, an equal test across the board from wherever.
But your internal speed is fine?
I don't know. I've never had any problems with my internal speed.
You should test your internal speed.
I would also go back and forth between like speedof.me and fast.com.
Okay.
And test at both of those sites and see if they're close. That'll let you know if your your provider is limiting the speeds for streaming. Fast.com, the back end is Netflix.
To do your internal, make sure that's the correct speed, that you're getting gigabit or what. I don't know what
if your internal router is doing
what you're supposed to be rating
the higher speeds, which is where I get some of my problems with the wired network as opposed to the wireless network, because a lot of times on the wireless network I can get the full 200 because I got the Wi-Fi 6. But with the wired, my ports are supposed to be Ethernet, but if I'm hooked up over wired, then the most I can get is 100.
They're supposed to be gigabit?
I don't know if the cable that he ran out to the garage is rated for gigabit. Probably not. You can see Mordancy shaking his head. I'm assuming that it's not. But I also have the problem with my laptop that's in the living room that's about 8 feet away from my router and hooked directly into my router. So the ports on that are supposed to be gigabit, but I don't know what the issue is there. So.
Now, everything out there is basically the Cat 6 that you can buy. Is Cat 5 not rated for gigabit?
Depends. There's different versions of Cat 5 too.
Yeah, there's Cat 5, there's Cat 5e. I don't know all the standards. One time I was learning them, and then I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, so that's the question too. Is I wonder I should check the my cabling. Yeah. All good food for thought.
Does this camera make me look fat?
It's not the camera's fault.
Your fat makes you look fat.
I didn't tell you how many months along I am, did I?
Right.
It looks like about at least 8.
That looks like at least like.
No,
how old are you?
I think it's the webcam. I think it adds 50 pounds.
Oh, the camera adds 50 pounds.
Yeah.
As does the 50 pounds of fat.
Mm-hmm. And just on my stomach though. It's the way it's angled, I think.
Yes, that's most I've been up to. Is just I've been trying to work on my home network.
It's always fun trying to
Yeah.
optimize your home network.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said,
But
it also. So I also too. I mean, I'm not sure whether the fact that the Fire Sticks that we're doing most of our streaming through are some of the bottleneck too. Whether they're just struggling with trying to deal with the video or with a video playback. And they're pretty.
if they're acting as signal jammers.
Well, I mean, if they can handle whatever is coming through. I mean, they're not like massively powerful machines to begin with.
You know what? If you're the only one that's up at 2 a.m. and nobody else is streaming anything, then you can find out.
Honky's never up at 2 a.m. He may be wake up at 2 a.m.
If I'm up at 2 a.m., that's because I fell asleep and I woke up, and there are times when I'll start watching something, fall asleep, wake up, and I still got the headphones on, and
You got to find the last part you remember.
Right. Or stupid, like there's some streaming services where it'll just kick you into a completely different show. I think like Paramount Plus will just like kick you from whenever you finish. It's like, we suggest this movie, and then next thing you know, you're like halfway through that and into another completely different movie.
Tubi does that too.
Yeah, that's right. I think I've done that with Tubi.
Yeah.
I was watching something on Tubi, and it kicked me into like 2 different movies that I watched.
I'll be dozing off as the credits roll, and then boom! Here comes the title sequence of a new movie. What the hell?
Super loud title sequence.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be in the middle of one movie, and all of a sudden it's either the credits for another movie.
Like being in the 90s again, when TV sounded normal, but the ads were just blown up completely.
Yeah.
Fall asleep in front of your TV and see what happens.
That drives me nuts with some of the more recent movies, where they'll have like the talking parts at one level, and then all of a sudden they'll kick the
actions and the music
way up. So I'll be sitting there, the kids will be asleep, and we'll be sitting there watching a movie, and then we'll have to turn it down, and when the action sequence are up, then we can't hear anybody during the regular talkings, we got to turn it back up again.
Yep. No, we hate that too. But a lot of your TVs these days have the sound gate, so that it'll basically normalize the sound.
Compression.
Yeah, mine doesn't. Mine's old.
So are you.
Yeah, fair enough.
Did we want to look at a link or something?
I don't know. Has anybody else been working on anything? Lovecraft, you been working on any projects?
Nope. Still got that that touchscreen PC that I was hoping to do something with, maybe build a touchscreen jukebox or something, but that's made exactly zero progress.
You'll get there eventually. One
Yeah,
day.
it's on the list.
Netminer, you been working on anything? Have you busted out those pies yet?
Apple pies.
Mostly I've been writing some stuff, working on editing some old writings. It's amazing how much evidence of my dyslexia I've found and other things that have shortened up some stuff. Not too much computer related.
Have you started preparing for summer?
Yeah, well, yeah, got some stuff done. The temperatures have been bouncing around here, so I've just kept things buttoned up because we've had a lot of cool weather.
I mean, several days where it was super hot, and then all of a sudden we had days where it just dropped right down.
Well, I found just keeping the place buttoned up kept me from getting hit by the short heat waves. though it does look like my lawn is going to need another trim. And I'm definitely going to need my summer haircut or spring haircut pretty soon.
Do you go to a barber, or you just bust out the razor and do it yourself?
I go to the barber. No, and get a wiffle type cut, and then by the time fall comes, it's back to normal length.
That's the way to do it.
Oh, you know what I got? At this place called Texas Thrift City, Texas Thrift City. I got a dehumidifier. It's
Nice.
really small, and it's about that big, maybe not maybe 18 inches tall.
Where's it at? Texas Thrift City?
Texas Thrift City in Garland. But I found like a little dehumidifier, and it's pretty cool. It works too. It's got a little reservoir on the back that fills up with water, and you set it to what humidity you want your room or whatever to be, and it's got a little compressor in it that condenses water on these coils, and that's what drains into and it works. I've been running it. I need to find out how much watts it pulls, but I don't think it's that bad. But yeah, I use it so I don't have to run my AC so low, because it's mainly the humidity here is what makes me feel so hot sometimes. And so I can turn up the AC and just run the dehumidifier.
Yeah, we tend to run the AC to dehumidify the house so that it doesn't bother Tala as much. I guess if we could do it with a dehumidifier, that might save on the overall electrical cost, so we're not paying $400 a month.
Yeah. My apartment's pretty insulated, so I can, if it's not really hot outside, I can get away with just running the dehumidifier instead of the AC. Because a lot of times I'll use the AC like you, just to dehumidify the air. But yeah, it keeps it around. I've been keeping it around 40% humidity, and pretty good. Outside it'll be like 70, 75, sometimes 80. I'm able to keep it around 40, 45 in my apartment.
Yeah, the
Not bad.
temperature doesn't bother me, but yeah, the humidity does.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it got up to like 120, I would not care, except for the fact that it would be like 200% humidity here.
Yeah, like I can have the humidity at 40 in my apartment with the temperature at 80, and that's comfortable for me. Whereas if the temperature is like 78 or 76 and the humidity is like 70, then I feel uncomfortable.
I feel like you're trying to breathe through a swamp.
Yeah, I feel like it's just a big wet blanket on me. So it was like $30, and it works. That's the only piece of tech I've gotten lately.
No more omelet skillets?
Tomorrow morning, I'm going to make an omelet. I bought some...
Yeah, you got to tell us about, if you feel better about your omelet pan.
Yeah, so far I've been using it, and I haven't noticed any more rust, but I've been drying it with the towel instead of letting it drip dry in the dish thing, and I haven't seen any more rust, and been making not really omelets, mainly frittatas. So I'll just kind of cook everything on one side and then the egg on the other side, and just dump it in there and leave it closed for a little while, and yeah, it's pretty good. Last time I made one, I had a bell pepper, one of the red bell peppers, and some onion and mushroom, and just chopped it all up and put some butter on one side of the pan, cooked that, and the other side I had the egg, and I just dumped it in there. And it was really good. And then sometimes I'll fold it over to make it like an omelet once I put it in the pan. But it says it's nonstick, and I don't believe it. You have to have a lot of butter so things don't stick in there. So it may be like a knockoff brand of Teflon or something. I don't know, but if you don't put butter in there, it's gonna stick or some kind of oil.
All right. So there was, what was the thing you wanted to talk about there? The mini computer?
Yeah, Lovecraft beat me to it. I was about to post it in the subreddit, and he already had it posted. It's called the Beepberry, and it's a cute little handheld computer. But you provide the actual computer part. It's got
Raspberry Pi Zero.
yeah. It says you can put Raspberry Pi Zero W or any other compatible SBC like a Radshaw Zero or MQ Pro with the low profile solderless header. It's got what looks to be like a BlackBerry keyboard, tactile keyboard, and a little 400 by 240 display, sharp memory LCD display, ultra low power. When I first saw it, I thought it was an e-ink display, but it's not.
Yeah, I don't know if it's color though, because
Yeah, it
they're
doesn't
only
show
showing
color.
it. Yeah, they're only showing it being used as a terminal, which is cool enough on its own. And they show one with a case or a 3D printed casing. I'm not sure which. But it does look cool. And the price, you can't complain. I mean, it's $80 for the device, and then $100 if you get it with the Raspberry Pi Zero W. So getting a Raspberry Pi Zero W for $20 right now, that's pretty darn good.
I'm looking at the tech specs, and it doesn't say about the keyboard, but I assume it's just black and white.
The keyboard itself looks
I mean,
like
not the keyboard, the
yeah,
display.
the screen. I don't know, but the keyboard itself looks exactly like a BlackBerry keyboard.
It's got a backlight too, and a little touchpad. Programmable side button onboard RP2040 for keyboard and peripherals controls, and then USB-C programming and charging, 2,000 milliamp hour LiPo battery, and it's got the GPIO breakout. It's just a neat little computer. I thought it was really cool. I just like the way it looks and how small it is, and 240 by 400 is not like HD or anything, but it's good enough for. I mean, if you look at the little videos when they're showing the terminal and stuff, you can read it fine. You can get a lot of. Did you see that little watch they got next to it? Is that a Pebble or what is that?
It looked like the Pine Watch.
Oh, is it?
I'm not sure. Have
Pine
Honky look
Time?
at it because it looks like the Pine Time.
Oh, either that or a Pebble. I don't think the Pine Time is that square. Heck, I don't even think a Pebble is that square. I don't know what that is.
Like something, custom,
Yeah,
homemade.
One of the videos has like Star Wars ASCII art on it.
Now, I don't see why you wouldn't be able, if it is a color screen, I don't see why you wouldn't be able to just, kick off an operating system on it. But I would also want to know if there's, the ability to put in a SIM card slot and actually, get data that way.
I don't
Doesn't
know.
look like it.
I don't see one.
Yeah.
It's got it's got flash memory built in, 16 megabytes. But I guess you'd put the SD cards into the Raspberry Pi Zero. What? Let's see, software, OS image. Raspberry Pi OS Lite 32-bit is the base OS image. The drivers has a driver for the display and one for the keyboard. What is this keyboard? It's got to be a BlackBerry keyboard.
Yeah.
BBQX. But it'd just be neat to like, especially if you need to do some like you want to do some server maintenance from a remote server maintenance, and
Even
just
as a
need to see
terminal, it's cool.
just need to see a console or something.
Yeah, you know what it reminds me of is the chip the chip
Yeah,
computer came out with
yeah,
that
it
little
does.
handheld one.
Yeah,
What the heck was that called? Do you remember?
chip, I think, right?
Pocket chip.
Pocket chip.
Yeah, I think the one with the keyboard is called pocket.
Anyone want my chip?
What do you have?
Here's the pocket chip.
Hey, I'll take it.
It was $9. Got a whole with the keyboard, little handheld thing.
Yeah, I'll Venmo you. What is it? $9? $10?
I'll just pack up everything I got from the Kickstarter and send you.
Really? I'll have to
Yeah,
trade you. I'll send you something. I'll send you this monitor.
I can't rid of it. I got it to my place. I haven't done anything with it, so.
Yeah, man, I'd love to have it.
So I have the chip with the HDMI board on it, but something happened with the OS and I can't reflash the new OS on it. So now it just sits here in my little box of SBCs that aren't being used right now. Plus, I got the dev board. Came in a nice little case, so you can. Get this.
That's so you can program it?
Yeah. So I don't know how to. Basically, this just has a micro USB connector to it, and then there's a board or something. This is the chip dev board, dev board, which has this same board program put onto it with.
I had high hopes for that company when it came out.
Right,
I was hoping to see the second generation of their stuff come out, and then yeah.
I wish they just kept with what they had. I mean, you can't, like I said, you can't even flash these things anymore. Somebody had backed up the application to flash it in like the version of Debian that they had, and I still can't get it to flash right. It was like a Chrome plugin to flash it. That you flash it through the web browser. But like I said, I can't get anything working on it. I got the dev board and I got the regular one with the HDMI. This thing came with all sorts of little goodies, but none of which I could use. And so it sits back there. All right. Is there something else somebody wants to
There's
talk about?
something that might be of interest to Netminer.
What's that?
It's called Past Meets Present in this $200 mini laptop with an Intel 8088 chip and 640 kilobytes of memory. On Liliputing.
Drop the link.
That's what I'm doing now. Okay. It says More than 4 decades after Intel launched the 8088 processor, a Chinese PC maker has launched a brand new mini laptop sporting the 4.77 MHz processor, along with support for an optional 8087 math coprocessor. It's called a Book 8088 DOS system, is available from AliExpress for $201 and up, and while it won't run most modern software, it looks like a retro computing dream with support for MS-DOS 6.22 and Windows 3.0 or earlier. It measures 240 by 150 by 30 millimeters, 9.4 inches by 5.9 by 1.2. With the Intel 8088 chip, IBM CG8 graphics card, 1640 kilobytes of memory, and a 16-color 640 by 200 pixel display.
Yeah, this has that new old tech feel to it, and it looks really cool. I don't know what I would use it for, but it does look cool. But I at the price, I'm gonna have to give that a hard pass. $275.
Yeah. But if you're really into this retro style, I mean, it's very cool. It says good for playing DOS games, running classic programs like early versions of Microsoft Word, or just getting a glimpse of computer history without needing an emulator.
It looks cool, but honestly, I'd play with it for 10 minutes and then it would collect dust for all time.
What do you think, NetMiner? Would you use something like this? Will this be fun for you?
No, I think I've got better sitting here already. Certainly for the price that you seem to quote.
But would you use it if you had it though, to run MS-DOS and Windows 3.0? Do you ever use that software anymore?
No, I do not, and I can probably run MS-DOS better as a task under Linux these days.
Yeah. Did you ever use the 8088 processor?
Oh yeah, it was my second big computer. Was an original IBM type system. Had a 1.44 meg hard floppy as the big drive, 360, I think 360K main drive, and a large EMS card to provide RAM disk and swap space.
What OS were you using?
Probably originally DOS 2 or 3. May have been running Deskmate from Radio Shack.
Well, this is an upgrade. You can run DOS 6.22.
Again, I think I can configure things better. Heck, I've still got...
For that price, yeah. I mean, unless you're looking for an extremely small form factor that's doing the DOS, then this really is not worth it. And even then, you can do it with a Pi and a screen. But anyways, yeah. Let's move on from this interesting piece of tech.
Some people would call it retro pandering, and then charge $200.
$275 plus tax.
So I just thought it was kind of cool that somebody's still making stuff like that, you know, for retro enthusiasts, I guess. Not for me.
Me either. I never understood people's obsessions with Atari.
I can understand that. I can understand that. With the old gaming systems, but I like so many of the old gaming systems that I'd rather just emulate because it saves space and money.
Right?
What about Amiga? There's a big community of Amiga users still.
Yeah.
What about the Trash 80?
Mm-hmm. Like people still are hosting current BBSs on Amigas, you know?
I still have an Amiga 500 in my garage.
Really?
Yeah, I basically took me all summer working one year to be able to afford the Amiga 500 with the memory expansion so I could play a game called Dungeon Master.
Oh, cool.
It was a pretty cool game. Way back, like 1987, 88.
I have an old army buddy that loves that game and will play it on emulation. But yeah.
Yeah, it was one of the first games that I think, or role-playing games on the computer that took into account like you need to actually eat to stay alive, and some of the monsters you could, after you killed them, you could hack them up and consume them.
Oh my!
So when do you think the last time was you fired up that bad boy?
It's been at least 10 years.
That's not that long ago.
Yeah, it didn't blow up, so that was a plus.
Mm-hmm.
India continues its attacks on free speech by banning Element.
Yeah, not just Element, but like lots
open source.
yeah.
Any open source communication systems that does end-to-end encryption, and they specifically said because they want to be able to monitor communication.
Started with TikTok, which the country banned in 2020, which Montana just banned when? Yesterday, I think?
Yeah.
Now, how is the state banning a
They're
website?
banning it from like government everything. I mean, because you can't really stop people from getting it, but you can like block the IP address.
But how do you force ISPs to block an IP address?
But the Montana law is statewide, not just government devices. It's everybody in Montana.
Right.
Well, you can't tell people not to get on TikTok. That's not going to last very long.
I know.
Because there was this whole thing with
Pornhub.
No, but there was this whole thing with the government trying to ban TikTok. Because I have a friend who's
no, it's actually pretty easy to implement that. Most specifically, you sue the ISPs that don't block it. Cost them money.
And then Utah, isn't in Utah you have to have a you have to certify your age or something?
You have to either provide a credit card or a driver's license every time you try to access Pornhub. And the number of VPNs in that state went up like exponentially when that law went into effect.
So the ISP has to then go by location. So let's say Comcast. Comcast covers such a large amount of the United States that it needs to then filter out where exactly the IP is coming from and then block certain IPs.
Yeah, that's actually really easy because your IP addresses all point to like physical locations. So
right. I don't know. It seems like a great deal of effort for.
Well, it's like region locking on Netflix.
I'm glad they banned TikTok. I hate TikTok.
I don't like TikTok either, but it seems.
I'm still trying to get in links to TikTok from my friends. I never look at them.
No, it's annoying because like since they started locking down TikTok, Jackie sends me like 15 TikTok videos on Facebook every day.
I get them all the time. I never look at them. Just text message links to TikTok. I don't even have TikTok installed. And if I click on it, it takes me to a web page that tells me, "Hey, have you tried to install TikTok?" I said, "I'm not installing TikTok."
Never gonna happen. I'm never installing TikTok.
Me neither.
Yeah. So I have
No, I'm
a
not
friend.
saying it should be banned, but there's a certain part of me that hopes it gets banned countrywide, so I never have
Maybe
to
I'm
see
just
another
old
TikTok
and I
link.
don't want another freaking social media application. I have too many of them as it is.
I only need one. It's called Matrix.
Yeah.
Which,
I had a friend.
by the way, this article, they're banning Element. Element is just a client. I mean, they're not. It doesn't say anything about banning Matrix itself. This Element. I mean, there's a ton of clients to connect to the Matrix protocol. You know.
Right.
But from what my understanding was, they were blocking every open source end-to-end encrypted application.
But how can you do it? How could that even be possible?
It's not.
Because
It's not enforceable.
say I want it on my phone. Well, I'll just install the APK on my phone.
What it really means is that it's illegal for you to have those applications.
What about the web browser?
It's not enforceable for them to stop it, but then they can, if they see that you're using it, they can arrest you and charge you.
Arrest you?
This is India. They don't give a shit.
Well, all right, fair enough. But that's just, stopping somebody from installing an application. I mean, I can see blocking it from the store.
They're not really stopping people from installing it, but they're using it as an excuse to arrest people when they find that you have it. See what I'm saying?
Well, do you need the application to go to like TikTok? Like, couldn't you just go through it through a web browser?
Well, that's TikTok. But
or even Element. Element is like you said. Element is just.
You can go to a web page. You can request the desktop site, whatever. But I don't know how they're enforcing it at that point.
You can install the Element client within Unihost. You know, I did that.
Right.
Joe, you need to have the answers right now.
Right now.
Tell us.
Right now.
Do you know when I'm planning on going to India?
Are you
tomorrow?
a secret agent?
Never.
Secret agent of President Modi? I think you are. We've found you out.
You have buddies in India, right?
I do, and I have friends that have family in India. But you know where I'm not going?
India.
India, that's the one. Unless work wants me to go visit like the other team there, and that would be interesting. Don't get me wrong, but I'd rather meet them all in like some semi-neutral location like South Korea, where I'm not going to get in trouble for eating dead cow.
Can you eat live cow?
Dogs, cats, all good. Cows, nope.
You know, cat was pretty good when I was in South Korea.
Yeah.
Did you really eat cat?
Yes, and dog.
Why? Shame on you.
Look, sometimes you didn't know until after, and they told you after. But, you know, when you walk up to a shop, the shop next door to whatever restaurant you're at, and then you look up and you see the dead skinned dogs hanging from the ceiling, you get the idea, okay?
But was it at least organic, non-GMO dog?
You know, from what I could tell from them hanging up there, skinless and dead, it kind of looked like it.
Okay, well,
good. So did you have some kimchi?
I did, but kimchi is actually just like sauerkraut.
Cabbage.
Cabbage.
Yeah, it's cabbage. Cabbage and spicy
chili
vinegar.
pepper. It's good.
It's absolutely delicious. I love kimchi. Nice and spicy. I think you're thinking bulgogi or kogogi or kegogi or tegogi or one of the gogis.
What's a gogi?
Meat.
No, I was thinking why there's supposed to be a curse of being in deep kimchi.
That actually has to do with like the rice fields. Because one of the ways you make kimchi is to like bury it for 6 months, but the rice fields, supposedly they're supposed to be like water, standing water, and piss and shit.
Like a sewer, basically.
It's called night soil, and they have instead of a septic system, they have carts that go around collecting it for fertilizer.
Ooh.
I'm still looking for the reports of Coors Light headquarters getting some good shit shipped to them.
Good shit.
Well,
Human?
Coors has come out with its semi-woke
Oh, here we go.
light ad where they say that women were the first brewers of beer, and all of this bikini girl stuff has to be shredded and destroyed and wiped off the universe, and we can run it through our...
But that was from several years ago, or a few years ago, and it was for what was it, Women's History Month or something like that. It was a very temporary thing, and they were just accepting all the old like beer signs and stuff, where it was women in bikinis, and turning it into compost, specifically for women brewers.
I used to have a Coors Light. I think it was Coors Light. It was a cutout of Elvira. It was awesome, man. I can't remember what happened to that, but I had it in my room forever.
I bet you did.
Oh yeah,
That's what happened to it.
lots of nights spent with that Elvira cutout. Me and her, baby.
They also showed the mud wrestling
Put a
Coors
hole in
Light ad.
it.
Right. You know, everybody uses sex to sell. It's just like I said, it was for Women's History Month.
I don't use it anymore. At least not as often or as blatant as they used to.
I miss Buds McKenzie.
Right? Who doesn't love an alcoholic dog?
I can't think of anyone.
Yeah,
Another alcoholic because the dog takes all their alcohol.
Beer commercials just aren't the same anymore. They don't really have mascots and stuff. And
commercials. Who watches commercials?
well, beer commercials were part of my childhood. You know, cigarette commercials too. You know, they don't have.
There's nothing like Joe Camel, okay?
I remember the old cigarette print ads, but I don't remember cigarette television advertising. When did they outlaw cigarette television advertisements?
Maybe that was before my time. I don't know. They have liquor commercials, right, on TV?
Yes.
No, I remember cigarette commercials, but I also lived in foreign countries as a child, so.
Yeah. I can't remember cigarette commercials on television, really.
You don't remember smoking cigarettes in kindergarten during break time?
I'm old enough to remember when every airplane had ashtrays everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure.
It's weird to think about that they had smoking and non-smoking sections on airplanes. Like
there were smoking and non-smoking sections in restaurants.
Well, yeah, restaurants too, but airplanes is even crazier.
Well, they had smoking sections as late as like 2003 in restaurants.
Yeah. So I'm so glad you can't smoke in restaurants anymore.
Really?
Yeah, I hate that smell. You can't smoke in bars here anymore.
You can't smoke anywhere here. You can't smoke anywhere, can you?
Outside.
In a hut.
You can smoke in like cigar shops. They have places where you can smoke and try out cigars and stuff.
Vape shops. You can smoke in vape shops.
You can smoke in vape shops?
Well, you can vape in vape shops too.
You can vape. I still don't understand why people get upset about vape.
It's because it
A
tricks
lot of
you.
people find the smell annoying, or they think that it will, give them the nicotine, which is addictive, or whatever dumbass excuse they're making up that day for why that smell annoys them, even though it's perfectly okay for someone to spray 10 pounds of Axe all over themselves and actually be a fucking nuisance.
It's a trick. They trick you though. Like you'll be around the corner and you smell cotton candy. You think, oh man, I'm gonna buy me some of this cotton candy. And you go around and some idiot fucking vaping. Damn it, let me down. I'm disappointed now. I hate that.
Does that happen often to you?
Like
Chasing after
you're at a
cotton candy
carnival or
smelling
something.
things?
Yeah, you want to have some cotton candy.
Vaping isn't perfect,
some
but
guy in a top hat
it's still
vaping.
healthier for you than smoking cigarettes. There's less carcinogens involved.
Well,
Right.
I'd much rather smell vape than cigarettes for sure.
Kind of go 50-50.
I hate the smell of cigarettes. Cannot stand it.
I like the smell of cigarettes, but it's still sometimes.
There's
See,
a
I
lot
like
of
the smell of
nostalgia
cigarettes.
involved with the smell of cigarettes.
I like the
Pipes,
smell of
I don't mind too much.
Oh, pipe! I love the smell of pipe tobacco. I love the smell of cigar tobacco, pipe tobacco. Regular cigarettes can sometimes smell pretty good, depending on what they. Because there's some cigarettes like I don't. The Marlboro is kind of but like I've always
Lucky
been like
Strike.
more towards. I smoked Lucky Strikes for a while.
What
I started
about
off with Lucky Strikes. I
Camel
smoked,
unfilters.
I never did the Camel. I probably did.
Ooh,
I
you
know I
know
did
what I
Lucky
used to like
Strikes.
is with those Camel Crushes. Did you ever try those?
No.
Yeah,
Crush the
the
filter and
Camel
got the
Crushes
flavor.
are some of Jackie's favorites.
Those were great.
I did the Camel Reds for a while, then Winston's.
Yeah, Winston's. If you like cheap cigarettes, Winston's are right up there with the with the Winchesters and the what's that one brand of really cheap cigarettes?
Pyramid.
No,
Mustang. Mustang was
the
one of
red
the cheapest
ones.
cigarettes. Marlboro.
Marley's. No. Marley's is the fake one. There's another one.
Mustang.
Pall Mall.
Parliaments. I got a
the
friend
ones
who
I used to get
smoked
at
the Parliaments.
7-Eleven.
Parliament. I remember those. Pall Mall. You remember those?
Yeah.
Pall Mall's still around.
Pall Mall was the old woman cigarettes.
Yeah.
Sitting with Parliaments.
I used to like those Camels. Those, what were the big fat ones? The
Yes. Yeah.
can't remember what those were called. What kind is
Lucky
that?
Strike.
Lucky Strike. Oh, what
Yeah.
about the what is the one that had like a native theme?
American
American Spirit.
Yeah. I
American
smoked those.
Spirit.
American
All
Spirits are actually expensive. They were cheaper for a very, very short amount of time, and then the price shot through the roof. And no, I was thinking Mavericks.
Okay.
The Mavericks cigarettes. Taste absolutely horrible, but they were cheap.
Didn't they have some called Ben Sherman or something that were like a kind of a higher class cigarette that came in a box that opened up and pulled the cigarette out? I think that's what they were called. Shermans or something. Pretty good. Oh, what about cloves? Did y'all ever smoke cloves?
Yeah, that was a good way to make your lungs bleed.
I always thought it was just. I tried
Cloves.
one because I hung out with a very goth chick, and she gave me a clove cigarette, and it was basically I described it as trying to smoke a pancake. It tasted like nothing. It tasted like maple syrup.
Really?
It tasted like maple syrup. It was just kind of bleh.
Well, aren't they supposed to be like banning menthols entirely now because they're a flavor?
Probably.
Do you guys remember Beaties or Beaties? I think they were called.
Yeah.
Beaties. Yeah.
What was that?
Remember? You ever seen those honkies?
They look like tiny joints, and they were, Beaties, and they were basically just raw tobacco, rolled in flour.
You say flour?
Flowers, roses.
Oh. Kind of like the baking flour.
Roll the flour.
You roll it in the flour and then you put it in the oil.
And deep fry it.
Deep fry.
And then you smoke it.
Deep fried tobacco.
Good stuff.
Did you ever roll your own cigarettes?
Oh yeah, I used to do that.
Yeah. Did you roll it by hand or did you get one of those little rolling machines?
Both.
Did both. I did
I
both.
could never roll it by hand.
No, because for a while there, you were paying a lot less in tax if you were using the machine at the a lot of the smoke shops. So you'd go in there and you'd buy a carton of the filtered, just empty, like cigarette things that were just nothing in them, and then you'd buy all of the tobacco, the loose tobacco, and then you'd run it through the machine, and it would make you a carton of cigarettes. Maybe you'd lose one or two here and there to screw ups or whatever, and that was significantly cheaper. Yeah, it was $11 a carton at the time when cartons were running almost $50.
Wow, I didn't know that. I never heard of that.
And then they
Either.
changed. The state found out how much money they were losing by not charging the extra taxes there, and made a change to that. And yeah, they became the exact same price as purchasing a carton of cigarettes. So there was no point anymore in doing that. But yeah, I did also roll my own cigarettes for a while because it was cheaper, and I did learn how to roll my own like a joint, and I also had the little rolling machine that had a like continuous loop of paper and then
Yeah,
the two pieces
that's what I
rollers
used.
together. Yeah.
Hey, you buy like a can of some cheap base tobacco or something, and then pack of rolling papers, and save a
Prince
lot of
Albert in
money.
a can, and yeah.
Yeah, that's basically what I did. I had that little thing to roll it up like that, and then I get the loose tobacco and put it in there.
Mm-hmm.
There's
But
some
that's how
people who
I-
get the filter too, and they put it on there at the same time as they're using the rolling thing. I never had the filter. I always put
Yeah, you
filters
could
when I was doing that.
get the filters too, and they would go right into that little rolling machine as well, and the paper would just go around that. But that was how I learned how to roll a joint. Was
There you go.
rolling
cigarettes.
tobacco.
Yeah.
So that was cigarette talk.
Yeah. Do we
Our
add
new
that to the show
segment?
notes as as tobacco talk?
I put cigarette talk in the
How
show
the hell
notes.
how the hell did we get onto that anyways?
I don't know.
Jesus, how the hell did we make it down that rabbit hole?
I don't remember. It was a long, winding road.
It was indeed. I put one in the show notes that we were 9 things you can do with KDE Connect on Linux. 8 things you can do. Right, it was an extra thing.
Let's see here.
Yeah, well, we were getting the Indian cigarettes that they were talking about when we were at the res. Yeah, the native spirits on the res, and then they got more expensive.
Was that in Iowa or Idaho or El Paso?
That was in New Mexico.
New Mexico.
Oh man.
And
so
El
you can
Paso.
receive messages and phone notifications on your computer with KDE Connect.
Yeah, I do that with KDE Connect.
Share large files wirelessly.
I don't do that with KDE Connect.
Use your phone as a mouse and keyboard.
I do that all the time with KDE Connect when I'm using the glider, because I built a holder for my phone in the side of the glider, and that's just having that little touch there so that I can control my computer from it is so much easier than trying like a mouse.
Controlling PC media from your phone. I've never done that.
I do pause play.
Control presentations such as PowerPoint or Google Slides.
Nope.
Locating your misplaced phone.
Yep.
You can ping it using KDE Connect as long as it's still connected to your Wi-Fi. Running quick PC commands from your phone, such as reboot, shutdown, suspend, unlock screen. Sharing your phone's clipboard with your PC. If you want to copy something from your phone to your PC. I've done that before.
Yep.
And that's it. That's the 8 things you can do. Honky just disappeared into the ether.
That's okay. It's getting really late.
I'm tired.
I'm tired.
I gotta wait.
It's been a long day.
Honky. I think Mordancy must have went to bed already. You guys
Sorry,
ever-
I had to pee for like the 9th time tonight.
What are you drinking on?
It happens with age.
Well, I had like 2 cups of coffee beforehand, but then I filled this up with not like that much vodka, and the rest of it was cranberry juice. It was too much vodka, so I wound up getting some more cranberry juice. And as I started drinking it down, I put in some more cranberry juice, which at that point I'm just consuming so much liquid that, like I said,
Should have just had the vodka straight.
Cranberry
should've,
juice is
but
good for like UTIs and stuff.
Cranberry juice is just good on its own.
You don't think it's too tart?
No, I love cranberry juice.
I like the cocktail. Cranberry juice
I
cocktail.
hate
Bet
that
you
cocktail.
do.
But just
That's not
by
even
itself-
cranberry juice. It's everything else.
I know,
it's like
it's mostly
apple,
sugar.
cranberry, orange, and God knows what else. Grape.
Didn't you make a cocktail with cranberry juice and vodka?
Who, me?
No,
Yeah.
Honky.
Oh,
I even actually
that's what he's
what I
been
do
drinking.
sometimes is cranberry juice with a little bit of orange.
Orange juice?
Add that vodka to that, and it's pretty good. Yeah,
Why do you add things to your vodka, man? Just drink vodka.
it's vodka. Vodka goes good with everything.
Yeah.
Vodka is perfectly good by itself.
I'm not saying it's not.
You
But
don't
Evidently
tell-
you are.
You don't tell us what to drink, Joe.
You're not the boss of me.
No, you don't tell us anything.
No, but I can call you a bitch.
Yeah,
Fair
well,
enough.
you can.
Wait a minute, guys. Come on. Can we at least
Look, it's
close out
almost
the show?
midnight. My family friendly is flown out the fucking window,
Yeah,
okay?
he's a peace. Here comes a peacemaker. What do you say, Netminer?
We just closed the show. By the way, midnight was close to an hour ago for some of us.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Almost. Yeah, we've made it from 9 o'clock to almost Eastern Standard Time from 9 o'clock to almost 1, and we've talked for I want to say a grand total of maybe 10 minutes about Linux related things.
Well, let me get in one more link here
Oh, all right.
about HP because I thought this was pretty crummy. HP disables customers' printers if they use ink cartridges from cheaper rivals. It has sparked fury after issuing a recent firmware update which blocks customers from using cheaper non-HP ink cartridges in its printers. Customers' devices were remotely updated in line with new terms, which means their printers will not work unless they are fitted with approved ink cartridges. So it was a remote update that nobody wanted, and it.
Yeah, well, this isn't the first time that they've done something like that, and the workaround in the past for like those endless cartridges that you could get with the tube hooked up to them so that you could just pour more ink in was to pull the NFC tag off of actual HP cartridges and transfer them over. Now, I don't know if they found a way around that or a way to block that, but yeah, it's always been an issue. I don't see why it would be pissing people off now as opposed to forever ago when they started doing it.
They have NFC tags in the cartridges?
Yeah.
To make sure that they're
Really?
actually HP branded cartridges, otherwise your freaking printer won't work.
Didn't Keurig do that with the
I was just
coffee
about to
cups
say
too?
that too. Yeah, the Keurig 2 came out, and they had it wasn't NFC. It was like a barcode or something, like a barcode reader on it. But people figured out that they just had to take one of the lids and basically tape it to the top of it, and then they could just put any type of K-cup in there.
They got the idea from HP, I'm pretty sure.
But they gave up. But once people started doing that, they gave up on that idea. They gave up on that trying to do DRM with coffee.
Well, HP should have given up on the idea when people were doing the exact same thing with the NFC tags and putting it on the eternal cartridges.
Right.
Yeah.
Remember we talked about that label maker doing that too. It scans the
Oh
labels.
yeah.
Dynamo or Dino or something. I can't remember. Anyway. Okay. I just wanted to fit that in since I already wrote it in the show notes. I didn't want to delete it.
Good reason. I like that. Good reason.
Yeah. That's it though.
It was already in the notes. We got to do it.
Yeah, gotta do it.
All right, we can go back to some of those later next time. When can we do it? June 2nd. That'll be our next recording date. June 2nd. We can go back and maybe go through some of those other links. Our music is Downright, provided by Klaatu and Broam. I'd like to thank Delwin for the use of his mumble server. Finally, I'd like to give a special thanks to Fatherfinch, Fweeb, Dave, Morris, and Tony Beemus for all their help and support over the years. I have been your host this evening, Honky Magoo. With us tonight has been Joe.
Good night.
Lovecraft.
Good night, everyone.
Minnix.
Have a good night and a safe weekend.
We're staring at an empty chair, but Mordancy is here, or was.
Cherry Hill. Good night, buddy.
And Netminer.
Good night, everyone.
Did you say goodbye to Lovecraft?
Yeah, it's a good night to like programs, yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
You remember him saying goodnight?
No.
I say good night.
Okay.
Good night, and good luck with the whole heart thing, man.
Ah, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Well, we're using your recording, so you really need to stop it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well, Minnix, you've had a good run. If the heart collapses tomorrow, what can I say?
You say good night.